Good morning, eighth graders. Welcome back. So this is our technology class. This is week 17. This is our first week back from the break. So basically what I'm going to be doing is just quickly reviewing everything that you need to be doing. So the last day of the quarter is next Wednesday, the 13th. So this week I'm giving you your last assignment before the end of the quarter. So please make sure that you get it done, plus you get done whatever else you're missing, okay? So everything is in GradeLink. If you go in there, if you go to your assignments, you'll see everything for technology. If it has a 0, obviously you didn't do it. If it has a not graded, you probably didn't do it. If maybe you emailed it to me and I just didn't grade it yet. But either way, you should go into the GradeLink and check, okay? Typing. So far, we've had 3 typing, and I gave 1 more. So the one for this week is quick sentences. So all 4 of the typing, shift key and capitalization, intermediate punctuation, intermediate assessment, and quick sentences, they'll all be due by next Wednesday, the 13th at the latest. So again, if you don't do your work by that date, you can't hand anything in after it. So that's your last possible day for that. This week, we're actually going to do one of our second step lessons, and it's actually 3 lessons in one. I just combined them all. It's the bullying unit. So I know that if you've been with me for many years, we always go over this topic every year. It's a very important topic, right? So we know that bullying impacts a lot of students in schools across the world, right? And that's why we focus on empathy, learning to understand people. These are skills that we call emotional intelligence, right? We call these social skills. And also as Christians, guys, I mean, we are supposed to be the light. We're supposed to be showing love to other people. And so bullying shouldn't even be a part of, the world that at least God places us in. We should be impacting it for the positive, right? So I'm going to just jump right into the lesson. So please follow along. Everybody's going to be getting one of these sheets with questions. So please make sure you follow along so that you can type the answers to these questions as you follow along, because some of them are definitions of certain words. And some of them asks you to come up with something to write after you watch the video clip. So actually the video clip that we're going to be watching right now, it's going to ask you to write an assertive statement Emily could use with her friends that are excluding her. So let me put it on. Let's watch it.
I was in a group of girls, and 2 of the girls were more popular. They hung out with all the guys and stuff. And there was this bench that they would sit on. Everybody else would kind of crowd around them. And there was also this one girl in the group, and we kind of started getting annoyed with her, disagreeing with her about certain things. And we ended up kind of pushing her out of the group. And they were kind of like the silent killers in the situation. I would have to kind of say stuff to her that they wanted me to tell her, and I ended up getting in multiple fights over instant messenger with her. And then towards the end of the year, they started pushing me out of the group, and I could kind of see it coming from like a mile away, because the same things that I had done with the other girl, they had started doing to me.
Okay, so they're talking about being excluded, right? And so let's just quickly review what bullying is. So bullying is when one or more people repeatedly harm, harass, intimidate, or exclude others. Bullying is unfair and it's one-sided. So if the person has asked the people to stop and they haven't stopped, if they're really directing it at somebody on purpose and they're doing it multiple times, that would be considered bullying. So if they're repeatedly excluding somebody for whatever reason, they don't like them, that would be a form of bullying. And it really is terrible. And I know you guys are going into high school next year. And so I'm sure, you're going to be encountering all different types of students out there, and you may come across, groups of kids who do this type of thing. They maybe look at other kids and they're like, oh, they're not getting in our group, right? And so you really have to learn how to deal with this appropriately. So hopefully we'll be getting some tips with that. So let's think about what she can say. What is something assertive that she can say to the friends? I mean, you have to think about it. Again, it comes down to each situation is unique. So she may try going to them and saying, hey, I really would like to hang out with you guys. And she could try to share her feelings if she feels comfortable. If it seems like she's tried that and it's not going anywhere, she may need to talk to somebody. Maybe she needs to talk to some other peers that she trusts or a teacher, right? Sometimes it's hard to go at these things alone. So this may have happened to you guys before. And so type something that you think Emily could say. So maybe something you've tried before, similar thing, or if you want to be, oops, sorry, hang on a minute. For some reason my phone is like ringing. Sorry. Okay. So try fill in that. Okay, so let's go to the next part now. This is the next story here. Okay.
In middle school, I used to hang out with this group of guys, and they were a really great group of guys. I'd known them for a long time. Well, they used to always mess around with each other, and punch each other in the arm, call each other sissy or whatever. But it seemed to get that they would pick on me the most.
My friends at school, they like to just hit each other when they say hi. I don't know why, but they'll just come up to me like, what's up, man? Then they'll just hit you. And it's really annoying to me. I don't know about anyone else.
I felt like a human punching bag. I guess it was a habit or whatever, but it started to get really bad.
And sometimes I'll tell them to stop, and they'll be like, oh, stop being such a crybaby. But sometimes I'll stop, and sometimes I wish, I'll just get some new friends.
Okay, so just joking or crossing the line. So I think I've seen a lot of you guys with this type of thing, right? Maybe you think you're joking around, saying comments, you know, punching someone in the arm or whatever. And it's hard to really know how people feel. And sometimes people, they don't feel comfortable sharing that, like, hey, I don't like this, right? And so it's tricky, right? And if it's something that keeps going and going, and the person has said, please, I don't want this anymore, and they're not stopping, then really that's becoming a form of bullying. It can be physical. So bullying can take different forms. It can be verbal, it can be physical, it can be emotional, like excluding people. We know it can be cyber, right, online. So I really want you guys to think about, if you have ever been in something like this, whether it was you were the person doing the bullying or you were the person on the other side of it, that it's just so wrong, right? And it shouldn't really be a part of your lives. You should be seeking to stop this kind of behavior. Okay, let me put on the next part.
It's not always easy to tell when you've crossed a line with someone.
I talk about people, and I can see the face expression that they're not really like they just want me to stop, and it's hurting their feelings.
Yeah. I mean, I try to hide it sometimes. It bothers me sometimes, but then other times it doesn't. So people probably don't know when it hurts me because, I change. I'm like, oh,
change face
whatever. But it is hard sometimes.
Yeah.
Like you, I try to hide it sometimes. If my friends are joking around and I know they're just trying to have a good time, I'll just be like, yeah, that's funny, that's cool. But sometimes, when you do cross the line, you do have to look at someone, or you have to hear how they're what they're saying, or you just have to, notice how they're feeling, or you have to listen to what you are saying, because you yourself should always know kind of when you cross the line.
Yeah.
Because you should know, okay, if someone said that to me, would it be time to stop joking around now, or, would I still let it go on?
When I make jokes about people, they like, I don't see it in their face, but then they start feeling with their like fingers and and then give me a little grin. So I mean, like, I'll stop right then and there.
Yeah. If someone's crossed your line, what do you think you should, or what would you feel about it?
I have a pretty hot temper, so when I get mad, it'll just be really fast and sort of come out of nowhere sometimes, because I'll just act like it's not annoying me, and then after a point I'll just be like, okay, time to stop, and then I'll start getting all standoffish, and making little snappy comments and stuff, and then usually, because I'm pretty clear about the way I'm feeling, and I say something about it if I'm starting to take what they're saying personally, and usually they know when my line has been crossed.
Yeah. When someone crosses my line, I kind of just find someone else. There's always someone that's in my class, and I'm just like, hey, what's up? I don't really talk to them. But then once you get to know them, you got someone else to talk to and tell that other person, it's like, I miss that guy.
Yeah.
What happened to him?
I think you should always be really straight up. If someone crosses your line, you should always be like, hey, I'm not cool with you doing that. So
Yeah, because a lot of time people are really oblivious to other people and how they're feeling. So unless you really make it clear to some people, then they don't really understand that.
Well, I wish we could have a discussion about this. It'd be so much better, right? Instead of me just talking, but hopefully it's getting you guys to start thinking about, what is your line, and what do you do when somebody crosses your line? Or what if you cross somebody else's line? Are you respectful? Do you apologize? Do you try to make it better? What do you do, right? Okay, so let me move ahead here. I'm just going to skip ahead towards the end where we talk about a bystander. So a bystander, if you guys remember, this is anybody who's aware, so they see the bullying happening. And they may choose to do absolutely nothing about it. Like maybe you've been a bystander before and you saw bullying happening, but then you just decided, whatever, it doesn't involve me. But the goal is to become an upstander, right? And to actually do something about the bullying. Whether it be going in and stepping in and saying, let me go tell the person, listen, I support you, I'm with you, I want to help you through this, or going and getting help from an adult, whatever it is, you're trying to take action against the bullying, right? And so that's hopefully the goal, is for you guys to not just be bystanders that just stand around and do nothing, right? That you actually become upstanders and you try to do something and help people, right? Okay, so we're moving into the next part. We're going to talk a little bit about stereotypes and prejudice. So it says, by nature, human beings sort and classify. So there's a little activity that goes along, but again, obviously not together, so we can't do it. It's really tricky to do these lessons without being together. But let me put the video on, okay?
Yeah, we have these, like every group of people has their table. There's the geeky people that they're always talking about either video games or whatever's coming out in the technology or something. And then they've got the sports people where we're always talking about sports. And what is there? There's the preppy people that are really they love to dress really nice all the time, and I think we only have 3 different groupings, but still, we're all stay away from each other, kinda. It's kind of weird sometimes.
So I'm wondering if I was going to ask you guys, what are some stereotypes that you've come across, whether it be here at PCA, maybe in some other, youth groups or things that you're a part of, or just from watching TV. Basically, a stereotype is an assumption that you make about, it could be a person, a group of people, because of how they're labeled, right? So, oh, those people are the nerds. They're the ones that always are reading books and studying. Those people are the jocks. They're the ones that are really into the sports. Those people are the popular ones. They're the ones that do everything that everybody else wants to do, right? And so I know that you guys have heard about stereotypes before because we've learned about them in the years past. But I guess my hope this year is for you to really start challenging yourself. If you do have any stereotypes inside of you, that you start to really try to break them, right? Before you get into high school and you get around people that are going to be so different from you, you don't really want to be carrying along these stereotypes. You want to try to always have an open mind about people. We never want to be judgmental, right? Especially the Bible says we shall not judge other people. And it can be hard because our families might have a lot of stereotypes. Oh, yeah, those groups of people are like that, and those groups of people are like that. And so you guys have to learn how to think with your own mind and don't just carry along the stereotypes that come from your family. Try to really give people a chance and don't limit yourself and who you make friends with simply because of stereotypes that you've heard about. They can be very damaging, right? Okay, I'll put on the next part.
So the beginning of my 8th grade year, I started a new school. The school was like far away from my home. It was a completely different environment and different setting. And the school that I went to was predominantly white, and I was like one of the small, handfuls of minorities that went there. One of the things that I experienced, I didn't experience racism, but I guess I experienced a different type of it. It was stereotypes, like people who strongly believed in stereotypes, and they followed these stereotypes so they could, feel comfortable around the people they didn't know or these new faces. A lot of people at that school had this preset mind that I was, a certain way, that I spoke a certain way, that I would dress a certain way, that I was into a certain type of music, like, I don't know, that I was like from the ghetto or the hood, and that I liked rap music, and I was, stuck up, and I was an open-minded person, that I liked cornbread or something, and I don't know, obsessed with fried chicken. It was like stereotypes that like people typically like put, African Americans into. At first I was offended. Like, I was angry and upset, but I knew that it would be in my best interest to not show anger and to just, still, like, give them a chance to get to know me, to know that I don't like rap music. I'm not from the ghetto, and I'm not obsessed with fried chicken.
Wow. So when you hear something like that, how does it make you feel, right? Hearing this girl, she's going to a new school and they're saying things like that to her. Can you imagine how she's feeling? If you put yourself in her shoes. And this is really why stereotypes can create so many problems, because you have to stop and say, what is coming out of my mouth right now? For those groups of people, they obviously are not doing that. And it's terrible because it can make people feel, like, wow, they're really looking at me and they're putting me and they're making stereotypes about me. And this is just something that we see so much in our society, even today, people doing these things. And it shouldn't be like that. And it really starts with you guys, because you're the next generation. And so if you guys can really, put a stop to this kind of behavior, you can really see a change, as we move on to the next generation growing up, that this won't be a thing, right? Because you guys will say, no, we look at people as individuals. We don't group them in groups and judge them based off of things that we've heard about groups. We know that's not right. We don't stereotype. So that would be my hope for you guys.
When I was in middle school, there was a new kid that came in the middle of 7th grade, and he was, I guess guess he was new from he didn't speak English well, so I guess he was Chinese, and I think he just came from China like a couple of years back, and he was smart. He was in our honors class, and first there were just a couple of jokes about his accent, about the way he talked, and it was, I guess, funny at first. Everybody was just laughing about it, all the kids that bullied him, and then it turned into something really bad. And at first the kid didn't care, but then it kept going every day. You saw that it started to hurt him. So there was a lot of bullying. The kids would just walk up to this kid and just say some racial slur, just something that they thought was funny, and they just laugh.
So at my school, say someone was fasting because of like their religious beliefs or something going on at their home. Like people, I've seen before people passing notes, and it was a girl, like she was trying to get skinny or something and not really trying to learn like why she was fasting or why she wasn't eating at lunch.
Like one time I was like, I think I want to join the army, fight for my country. And then one of my friends said, it's not your country. And I was like, oh. And then everyone started laughing. I was like, that was a good one, but and then he started saying more stuff like that. And I don't know, it gets really old. Like I used to be like, next time he says something like that, I'm gonna say I'm done being his friend, I'm done with him. But I told him how I felt, and he was like, all right, I didn't notice I was doing it that much, but all right, I'll try to stop. I'm sorry.
People would just call me like gay and like names and stuff, and people would just like pick on me and just left me out of like things, and people just like, they just didn't really understand anything, and they just talked. They didn't really do anything physical, but they just like talked really mean.
I'm from Iran, and since the crisis in the Middle East, it's all about turmoil. Kids tend to make fun of me, call me a terrorist and things like that. And everyone knows me at that school, and they know that I'm a nice guy, and I would just want them to stop doing that and just just talk to me like a normal person.
Okay, so let's talk about this. These are some different kids sharing their experiences dealing with stereotypes and dealing with prejudice, which is actually on your assignment. It's going to ask you to define prejudice, which is prejudging or assuming something about someone else. Like this guy, is it right for other kids to call this kid a terrorist because of the country that he's from? I mean, how would you guys feel if you were in his shoes? That's why I just think that it's gaining an awareness of your words and your thoughts and stopping yourself before you say anything to someone. Even if, I get it, this is a small school, you're in a small class together, you've known each other, and you think you're cracking funny jokes, but it's not a funny joke. Joking about somebody in that way, even if they're laughing about it, it's still hurtful, right? And it's unacceptable. And so my hope and prayer is that you guys really get awake before you go out into the real world and you leave this place and you realize that there's people from everywhere, especially here in New York City, right? And as Christians, we're called to love all people. It doesn't matter where they're from, what they believe. We have no right to judge someone. We have no right, even if they're living a lifestyle or making choices that are, not in agreement with, what we believe, it still doesn't give us the right to go and make comments to them or judge them, right? God never did that to us. He loved us where we were at, and it was his love that led us to repentance. And, we're called to love other people. We're not called to judge other people. And prejudice is super harmful because not all people from the Middle East are terrorists, right? I mean, it's just terrible. Like making a judgment like that on somebody, especially a student, right? Who's probably just here trying to learn and get a good education. And so I really hope you guys are going to look into your hearts this week and stop and say, gosh, do I have any prejudice? Do I have any stereotypes that I go around, making comments or thinking it's funny or even just thinking it is not okay, right? You have to really learn how to change the way that you think. And we do that by using empathy and by understanding. And how do you gain empathy and understanding? Well, guess what? It's by making friends with different people. It's by traveling. If you can't travel, obviously, right now, go and watch videos about different countries and cultures and learn about them. Open your eyes to the world that's out there and realize that not everybody lives the life that you live. People live completely different lives, right? And it's our job to be able to love people. And if you're having a problem doing that, maybe it's because you lack empathy and understanding for them. And it's easy for you to just prejudge and have a prejudice because you don't have an understanding, right? And so that's something that I think is super, super important. Okay, so let me skip ahead. So far we are up to, you're gonna have to say, what is a stereotype? I want you to list 3 negative effects that labeling or stereotyping can have on people, define prejudice, and then how can empathy help us get rid of prejudice? So this is what I would like you guys to focus on in your homework assignment this week. And I'm trying to go quickly through this because I don't want to make this video 7 hours long. But the last part of what we're talking about is dating and bullying in dating and even friendships, right? Friendships with same sex, different, if you are dating somebody, whatever it is. But this can happen. Bullying can happen in that kind of a way. And I know you guys are getting older now. Maybe you've had a little bit of experience with dating, or maybe in high school, there's somebody that you find that you feel like you're getting closer with. You really have to learn how to, here, hang on one second. Somebody's at the door. Hang on. Sorry, somebody was at the door. Okay, so I was just talking about dating, right? Or even just friendships in general, right? How do we know when they're becoming unhealthy? How do we know signs of something where we're like, gosh, maybe I need to get out of this, right? So I'll just quickly go through this with you guys. So let me put this on and then we'll talk about it.
She always wants to know exactly where I am. She gets really mad at me when I don't tell her.
It hurts my feelings when he tells me I'm fat.
He makes fun of how I talk in front of other people. He says it's just teasing, but it doesn't feel like that.
He's always telling me what to wear. I just can't be myself anymore.
She only wants me to spend time with her. She gets mad when I do something with my friends instead.
He goes ballistic about the littlest thing. He yells and swears, and it kind of scares me.
She says I'd be really good looking if I was taller. Like that's something I could do anything about.
She's always mad at me. Sometimes I don't feel like I can do anything right.
My friends don't like him. They think he treats me bad. They want me to stop spending time with him.
He told me if I talked to this one guy again, he'd hurt me.
She keeps putting pressure on me to get serious. I'm just not ready for that.
Okay, so these are just kids, they're expressing, so they're talking about a dating relationship, right? And they're talking about things that are coming up and they're starting to feel uncomfortable, getting some warning signs that possibly it's becoming like a form of bullying, right? Which can happen. And the reason I'm mentioning this in this lesson and spending a few minutes on this is because I don't want you guys to ever get into a situation like this, especially next year as you get in high school. If say you do get in a relationship with somebody, I want you to know that you have rights and that you should never ever feel pressured into doing anything that you're not comfortable with, and that you should have an awareness of when something is becoming unhealthy, which we're going to go through that. So I'm trying to just do this in a way where I'm kind of skipping ahead, but let's go through some of these questions and see what you guys think. Oh man, I need to pull it up on there. Okay, so let me pull it up from the spreadsheet. Okay, so let's talk about this. Do you think it's okay or not okay for somebody to tell you what to wear? So hopefully everybody says not okay. That's not okay. If a friend or if in a dating relationship is telling you what to wear because of whatever reason, that's a red flag probably that I don't know what's going on. They get mad at you if they see you talking to someone that they don't want you to talk to. Again, that's not okay. That's a red flag that they're starting to control you and you maybe need to back off. They want to be with you whenever possible. Again, there should always be a healthy boundary line. We should never spend all of our time with just one person. It's not healthy. You should have a few different friends, some time alone, time with your family, have some sort of a balance. If they criticize you a lot, why did you do that? Why didn't you text me right away? Why did you post that picture? I can't believe you did that. Those are signs that, again, the relationship is probably not healthy. And they like to spend time with other friends without you. So again, that might be okay because you should hopefully be with other friends without them and you have a little bit of time away from each other. Let me just pull up some of the signs. These are some warning signs that a relationship is becoming unhealthy. And again, these could be applied to dating or even just friendship in general. They try to prevent you from spending time with close friends or family. That's a red flag there. They yell or they swear at you. They're jealous or possessive, meaning that you talk to anybody else and they freak out, they get angry. They try to control you, they try to make all of your decisions. This is what we're going to do today. This is when we're going to do it. This is what you're going to wear. This is how you're going to act. They tell you what to wear. They tell you who you should be friends with. They spread false rumors about you and they try to make you feel guilty. They might even threaten physical violence. They could pressure you. This is important. And I don't know, you should talk about your parents about this, but if anybody ever pressures you to go and take off your clothes, show them any of your body parts, whether it's on video, sending them a picture, if you're alone with them and they force you or threaten or pressure you to take off any of your clothes together and do anything together in that way, again, you need to get help. So nobody should ever be pressuring you to do these things. This is really not something that should be happening to somebody. And you need to know that it's not okay for somebody to pressure you to do those things. And if you remember back in 7th grade, we talked about sexual harassment, people making comments about the way that your body looks. And making you feel uncomfortable. People touching any of your body parts. That's inappropriate. If somebody comes and touches a private area or asks you even to touch, that's not okay. That is not okay. You need to go and tell an adult right away and get help and get away and don't be alone with somebody and put yourself in that kind of a situation. If they think that violence is okay, they've hit you before, they've punched you. Again, that's a red flag. That's dangerous. If they've told you or you've seen them that they use drugs or alcohol, again, that's a red flag. Guys, you have to learn that there's a whole world out there of kids your age, and they are doing things that are not in line with Christian values. And as a Christian, it can be hard sometimes for you to stand up for what you know is right and to set boundaries, even if you really like someone and you do want to be in a relationship with them. There is a line between what is a healthy, appropriate dating relationship for a Christian teenager versus somebody that is pushing you into an unhealthy place. So that's why I think it's important for us to go through these things, because I want you guys to know your rights and to know what to do if you do get into a situation like this. So if there's anything about the relationship that's frightening, you need to find a way to get out of it, because you should know that it is never okay for somebody to treat you in that way. in any of those ways that we just mentioned, or to ask you to do any of those things. You need to be able to get help and to be strong enough to get yourself away, right? And so I think the easiest way is to know the signs, and as soon as you even see one of them, start to distance yourself from the person. And again, it could be a dating thing, it could even be some type of a friendship that just got into a bad place. And you don't want to stay in those types of relationships because they're just so unhealthy and they can lead to really terrible things, right? And we want to keep you guys safe, and we want to teach you how to make good choices. And this is with guys and girls, right? It can happen to anybody. And it can happen, even, believe it or not, you know, a man to a young boy, a man to a young girl. It's happened in so many different situations. Even women to a young boy. You know, it could be somebody your age, somebody older. It doesn't matter. You need to have an awareness of, you know, what is okay and what's not okay in any of these types of relationships, friendships, with anybody, right? So I just want you guys to have this in your mind, and I want you to know it, because as you get out of this school and we're not here anymore to really be there with you guys, you know, you may need to find other people that you can talk to, that you can trust. And always, you know, if it's somebody at home, maybe it's a parent, an aunt, uncle, an older sibling that you trust, that you can go to and tell them if you are in a situation that isn't healthy, a friendship or a dating relationship, so that you can get help, right? Don't be afraid to say what's going on. It's always better to share and get help than it is to keep it a secret. It could even be something that's happening online. We're going to get into this more, so that's why I didn't want to include it in this lesson. We're going to be talking about sexting when we get into our internet safety lessons. We're going to be talking about people that use the internet to exploit kids and manipulate and control them. And so we're going to talk about a lot of these things. But so this is just kind of like an overview, mostly related to bullying in friendships, bullying in dating, bullying just in any relationship that you might have. Okay. So just to try to end here, your questions are going to be, list 3 types of bullying that can happen in a dating relationship. So we talked about this. Could be verbal, could be physical, could be emotional, right? Any of those types of things. They could be trying to tell you what you're allowed to wear. They could be cursing at you. They could be hitting you, threatening you. What are 3 warning signs that a relationship or friendship is becoming unhealthy? You could use any of the ones that we just went through on this sheet, right? These would be any warning signs that a relationship is becoming unhealthy. All right, so you're going to type up the answers to these questions, email it to me, and then do your typing lessons this week. And this is your last lesson before the end of the quarter, so catch up on anything else that you're missing. And please, I know I had to kind of rush through this topic because I'm making a video, and obviously I would much prefer that we would have a discussion about this. I don't want to hear me talking about it, but I hope I was able to at least kind of go through the general overview of the topic. But please, if you want to talk about this, email me. We can meet on Zoom one-on-one. I'll talk about this topic with you further. If you're having any issues with this topic, I want to help you guys. So don't be afraid, okay? I'm here for you guys. All right, so I'll keep a lookout for your assignments. If you need anything, email me. All right, bye guys.